10 Christmas traditions from the 1960s and 70s that vanished completely. Do you remember that crisp December air slipping in as Dad wrestled the Christmas tree through the front door? Pine needles falling like green confetti on the carpet? Back then, in the 1960s and 70s, Christmas wasn't about perfection. It was about magic, the smell of pine, the glow of colored lights, the laughter echoing through homes wrapped in tinsel and hope. Tonight, we're unwrapping 10 of those memories that have quietly faded with time, like the final notes of a Bing Crosby carol drifting into the snow. So pour yourself a cup of cocoa, pull a blanket close, and let's step back into Christmas past together. The aluminum Christmas tree and its spinning color wheel. Do you remember that silver aluminum Christmas tree glimmering in the picture window, its branches catching the light like tinsel frozen mid-dance? All it took was one plug, and the color wheel would begin to spin. Pink melted into blue, blue faded into green, then gold washing the room in soft, shimmering light. The motor hummed gently. The air smelled faintly of warm plastic and roasting turkey. And for a moment, Christmas felt futuristic, like something out of the Jetsons. In 1965, stores like Sears and Woolworth couldn't keep them in stock. Over 100,000 sold that year, fireproof, needle-free, and proudly modern. Mom would dim the lights. Dad adjusted the wheel just right, and we'd sit cross-legged on the shag carpet, faces glowing with color. But by the early 70s, their shine faded. Families longed for the scent of real pine again, something living, something imperfect. Still, for those who grew up under their metallic shimmer, that gentle hum and rainbow glow will always feel like Christmas. Did your family have one of these space-age trees, or did you stick with the classic pine? Tell me in the comments, and now, let's step outside for the next memory. The department store, Santa lines that wrapped around the block. Picture this: a frosty Saturday in December. Your breath fogs the air as you clutch Mom's gloved hand, waiting in a line that curls around the corner of Marshall Fields or the local 5 and Dime. Kids bundled in itchy wool coats, boots stomping the snow, eyes sparkling beneath twinkling street garlands. There were no appointments, no photo packages, no fast pass Santa. Just the slow, beautiful wait for that magical moment on Santa's velvet knee. The store played jingle bells through tinny speakers. The smell of popcorn and peppermint drifted through the aisles, and elves in felt costumes handed out little numbered tickets. After what felt like forever, it was your turn. Santa's beard smelled of coffee and pipe tobacco. His ho-ho rumbled like thunder. You whispered your wish, maybe a Barbie dream house, maybe a G.I. Joe, and smiled for a quick flash from a brownie camera. Then you walked out clutching a candy cane, cheeks red from the cold, heart light as snow. Those lines didn't just bring us to Santa, they taught us patience, wonder, and the joy of waiting for something magical. Did your family brave those endless lines too? Tell me your story, and stay close, because our next memory brings that holiday magic right into the living room. Bubble lights on the tree. Before twinkling LEDs and flashing light shows, Christmas trees had their own quiet magic, the gentle bubbling of colored lights that seemed alive. If you remember those glass tubes filled with liquid, glowing softly as bubbles danced inside, you were lucky enough to witness one of the most mesmerizing sights of a mid-century Christmas. They were called bubble lights, and when you plugged them in, each tiny vial would warm up and start to fizz, sending streams of bubbles up through red, green, and gold liquid. It was like watching tiny lava lamps on every branch. For kids, they were hypnotic. You could stare for hours, watching the tree shimmer like it was breathing. For parents, they were a small miracle, no blinking, no noise, just calm, steady joy. You'd see them flicker behind tinsel icicles and shiny ornaments. The room bathed in that cozy amber glow while White Christmas played on the radio. And every year, Dad would test each one carefully, making sure the bubbles rose just right before declaring, "Now it's Christmas." By the late 70s, the magic faded as safer plastic lights took over, but nothing ever quite captured that same soft glow again. Did your family's tree ever bubble and hiss with color? Tell me about it below, and keep that cocoa warm, because the next memory will bring us right into the heart of the living room. Handwritten Christmas cards. Before the world went digital, before inboxes and emojis, there was the simple joy of a handwritten Christmas card. Stacks of cards sat on the kitchen table, next to a mug of coffee gone cold and a roll of stamps. Mom would pull out her address book, the one with dog-eared pages, and spend an evening writing out names in her neat cursive. The Hendersons, the Millers, Aunt June in Des Moines. Each card was a little moment of love. A snow-covered cottage on the front, a sprinkle of glitter that always rubbed off on your fingers, and inside, a few heartfelt lines that made miles feel smaller. Sometimes there'd be a school photo tucked in, or a short note, "Johnny made the baseball team this year. Hope to see you soon." You'd hang the cards on the wall with clothespins or tape them to the door frame, watching the collection grow as December went on, proof that you were remembered. The sound of envelopes being sealed, the smell of ink and paper, it all felt like connection made real. And when the mailman finally dropped a new batch into the box, it was like Christmas morning all over again. Today we send quick texts or digital greetings that vanish in seconds. But back then, every card had a heartbeat. Did your family keep a string of cards by the fireplace too? Or maybe you still write them by hand each year? Tell me below and stay close, because the next memory takes us to a very special kind of Christmas magic that glowed on every screen. Christmas TV specials. Long before streaming and on-demand everything, Christmas came once a year, even on television. The air outside was cold, snow frosting the windows, and inside the family room glowed with that familiar blue light. The moment the CBS special presentation logo spun onto the screen, every kid dropped what they were doing. It was time. A Charlie Brown Christmas, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Frosty the Snowman. They didn't just play on TV, they became part of us. The tinny sound of the theme music, the clay figures moving just a little awkwardly, and that soft, hopeful message that Christmas was about more than gifts. We'd curl up on the carpet in our pajamas, plates of sugar cookies nearby, and no one dared talk during the big scenes. When Rudolph's nose glowed bright red, or Linus stood on stage quoting the Gospel of Luke. For a few magical nights each December, the whole country watched together. There were no reruns, no recordings. If you missed it, you waited another year. Maybe that's what made it special, that sense of once-in-a-year magic, fleeting but unforgettable. Now those specials live on YouTube or streaming apps, always there, but somehow not quite the same. Do you still remember that excitement when the network logo appeared and the music began? Tell me which one lit up your childhood. And stick around, because our next memory will take us right back to the smell of buttered popcorn and the glow of homemade garlands. Popcorn and cranberry garlands. Before store-bought tinsel and plastic ornaments took over, the heart of Christmas decorating was made by hand, one kernel, one berry at a time. On cold December evenings, the living room turned into a workshop. A big bowl of freshly popped popcorn sat on the coffee table, still warm and smelling of butter, and a smaller bowl of bright red cranberries waited beside it. Mom would bring out the sewing needle and thread, and we'd all take turns stringing them together. Popcorn, cranberry, popcorn, cranberry, a perfect rhythm of white and red. The popcorn squeaked softly as the needle slid through, and sometimes we'd sneak a bite, even though Mom said not to. The radio played Perry Como or Andy Williams. The dog circled underfoot hoping for crumbs, and laughter filled the room as strings tangled and broke. When the garlands were finally done, we'd drape them over the tree, winding them carefully between the lights and ornaments. The glow of the bulbs turned the cranberries deep ruby and made the popcorn shimmer like snow. It wasn't fancy, it wasn't bought, but it was ours, made with time, patience, and a little bit of love stitched into every thread. Today, decorations come pre-lit and pre-packaged, but those homemade garlands carried something you can't buy in a store, the feeling of togetherness. Did your family ever string popcorn and cranberries too? Or maybe you've thought about bringing that simple beauty back. Either way, don't put away the needle just yet. Our next memory is about something that shone just as bright, but hung high above the tree. Tinsel icicles, everywhere. If there was one thing that made Christmas trees sparkle in the 1960s, it was tinsel. Those silver icicles that caught every glimmer of light and turned living rooms into winter wonderlands. It came in long, shimmery strands, tucked into cardboard boxes that somehow lasted year after year. Some families hung each piece carefully, one at a time, like little ribbons of frost. Others, usually the kids, grabbed handfuls and tossed them straight at the tree, laughing as they rained down in glittering chaos. When the lights flicked on, the magic happened. The whole room glowed, gold and silver reflections bouncing off ornaments, windows, and the faces of everyone gathered nearby. You could almost hear the sparkle. Dad would remind everyone not to let the tinsel touch the wires. Mom would sigh when the cat tried to eat it. And yet, no tree ever looked complete without it. By the end of the season, you'd still find stray strands tangled in the carpet, tucked behind the couch, little leftovers of Christmas joy. By the late 70s, the shine faded. New safety rules and modern tastes swept it away, replaced by plastic garlands and color-coordinated themes. But nothing ever quite shimmered like that old-fashioned tinsel storm. Did your family hang each strand with care, or did you throw them by the handful like confetti? Either way, that silver sparkle will always live in the glow of our memories. Now, let's dim the lights once more, because the next memory takes us back to the music that filled every home, from vinyl crackles to the croon of Bing Crosby himself. Christmas records on vinyl. Before Spotify playlists and Bluetooth speakers, the sound of Christmas came from a spinning turntable and a steady hand dropping the needle just right. Picture it, the soft crackle before the music began. That faint hiss that felt almost alive. Maybe it was Bing Crosby's White Christmas, or Nat King Cole crooning about chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Those voices filled every corner of the living room, warm and imperfect in the best way. The album covers themselves were part of the magic, glossy reds and greens. Bing in a Santa hat, Andy Williams smiling like he personally wished you a Merry Christmas. You'd flip the record halfway through, careful not to scratch it, and that act alone felt like ritual, like tending the season's flame. Sometimes Mom hummed along while wrapping gifts, or Dad tapped his foot, pretending he wasn't singing under his breath. The record player was the heartbeat of the holidays, spinning joy, nostalgia, and a few tiny pops of static that somehow made it all feel more real. What was your soundtrack back then? Did your family play The Little Drummer Boy on repeat? Or did the room always go quiet when that first note of Silent Night drifted through the speakers? Midnight Mass and candlelight carols. Picture the clock ticking past 11 on Christmas Eve, the house quiet except for the soft rustle of coats and scarves. Dad would bundle everyone into the old station wagon, breath fogging the windows, tires crunching over fresh snow, and off you'd go to the little brick church glowing like a lantern in the dark. Inside, the pews were packed shoulder to shoulder, with neighbors in their Sunday best. The air thick with candle wax and pine from the altar wreaths. The organ swelled with "O come, all ye faithful." And then, the moment everyone waited for, the lights dimmed to nothing but 100 flickering candles, passed hand to hand. Each flame trembled as voices rose in Silent Night, soft at first, then stronger, until the whole church seemed to breathe in harmony. You held your candle steady, wax dripping warm onto the paper guard, feeling the hush of something bigger than gifts or tinsel. Mom's gloved hand squeezed yours, Dad's baritone rumbled beside you. For those few minutes, the world outside disappeared. Just light, song, and the promise of peace on earth. By the late 70s, later services and changing schedules dimmed the tradition. Families stayed home with glowing TV screens instead of glowing candles. But for those who stood in that golden flicker, Midnight Mass will always be the true heartbeat of Christmas. Did your family brave the cold for candlelight carols? Or do you still light a candle and sing Silent Night at home? Share your memory below. And now let's flip through one last treasure that arrived long before Santa ever did. Toy catalogs from Sears or Montgomery Ward. Long before Amazon wish lists and one-click shopping, the real Christmas countdown began when the mailman dropped a fat, glossy catalog on the porch. The Sears Wish Book, or Montgomery Ward's Holiday Edition, thicker than the family Bible and twice as sacred. You'd race inside, pages already dog-eared by the wind, and sprawl on the living room carpet with a stubby pencil. Every toy imaginable waited inside. Easy bake ovens that really baked tiny cakes. Johnny Express trains chugging through plastic tunnels. Barbie townhouses taller than your little brother. The photos glowed with color. The descriptions promised magic. And circling your favorites felt like whispering secrets straight to the North Pole. Mom would peek over your shoulder and laugh, circle 1, not 20, while Dad flipped to the tool section, pretending he wasn't tempted by the shiny socket sets. The catalog lived on the coffee table all December, pages smudged with cookie fingerprints, corners curled from nightly dreaming. By the early 80s, rising costs and shrinking attention spans sent those thick wish books to the recycle bin. Today, kids swipe through screens instead of turning pages that smelled faintly of ink and possibility. But nothing ever matched the thrill of that first dog-eared arrival, proof that Christmas dreams came in the mail, one glorious pound at a time. Did you circle your heart's desire in red ink, or hide the catalog under your pillow so siblings couldn't steal your picks? Tell me your catalog story, and let's wrap this journey with one last sip of cocoa. There they are, 10 little sparks of Christmas past, flickering like the last candle on the Advent wreath. From spinning color wheels to midnight hymns, from handwritten cards to that glorious thump of the wish book on the porch, the 1960s and 70s wrapped the season in wonder we didn't even know we'd miss. Tonight, as the snow falls soft outside your window or the palm trees sway, if you're farther south, Maybe light a bubble light, drop the needle on an old record, or string a single strand of popcorn just for the smell of it. Christmas isn't gone. It's waiting in the stories we tell, the memories we share, the love we pass down like a handwritten card sealed with a kiss. So tell me, friend, which of these vanished traditions tugs hardest at your heart? Drop it in the comments, share it with your kids or grandkids, and let's keep the golden glow of retro Christmas alive together. From our cozy corner of yesterday to your home tonight, Merry Christmas, and may all your memories sparkle. Subscribe for more trips down memory lane. Ring that bell so you never miss a story. And until next time, keep the cocoa hot and the tinsel bright.